Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. Today we're going to talk about Cristalle by Chanel. And I have hunted down 2 more bottles of the Eau De Toilette. I am traveling a lot lately through different countries and duty-free shops, and I've hunted down 2 bottles of the Eau De Toilette. They were not cheap. I'm going to tell you this. It seems like everybody's kind of come to the realization that these are costly, that they're kind of a rare commodity at this point. I've heard people say that they have hunted down brand new batch codes that begin with a 9, so Chanel is still allegedly producing them, but they sell out really quickly. I can tell you this, as of now, because I keep checking the Chanel France website, because if it's happening in France, baby, you know it's happening everywhere else. Everywhere else is going to follow suit. So what did Chanel do in France? They have taken offline all of the Cristalle products, meaning Cristalle Eau De Toilette, Cristalle Eau Verte, Eau De Toilette Concentré, and the Cristalle Eau de Parfum. But they have kept the folder, the Cristalle folder. So if you check now the Chanel website, and you switch to France or any other European country, really, you will, and you scroll through perfumes, you scroll to the bottom, you find Cristalle, you push Cristalle, it's going to open up a window where it just describes the perfume, but there are no products visible. It doesn't say like sold out, or whatever, nothing. It's empty, completely empty. They have taken down all of them. However, so I've just purchased this and I've opened it up literally a week ago, 1 week ago. And can you see how much I've already used up after 1 week? Maybe even less, no, 1 week. 1 week ago. This is 1 week, okay, of me using a Cristalle. 7 days. 6 to 7 days. Let's spritz on a little more for this occasion. Because, so some people have, oh my gosh. Listen, if there's one thing I've learned in life, if the ship is sinking and there's no way to get off that ship, start dancing. And dance the night away, honey. Let me tell you. So, okay. Now, this thing. I'm going to enjoy this for as long as it lasts. The thing is this. When Chanel takes offline a perfume, like that, they're either going to discontinue it or they're going to refurbish it, new bottle or reformulation, and then they're going to bring it back with a much higher price tag. Now, when it comes to the IFRA regulations, you know, they're limiting the oak moss that you can use in a perfume. Chanel still has listed on Cristalle Eau De Toilette, not on the Eau de Parfum, but on the Eau De Toilette, they have listed both Evernia prunastri, oak moss extract, in the mid-section of their ingredients. And then towards the end of their ingredients list, they have listed Evernia furfuracea, tree moss extract. Both of them are here. In the smallest amounts allowed by IFRA, but they're still there. I'm very fearful that they're going to take those out if they do reformulate this one. So even if they're not discontinuing it, but they're bringing it back reformulated, if they bring it back reformulated, it's still not going to be the same perfume. So now is the time. Now, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already as we begin this review of the end of an era or the beginning of an era. You can also follow me on Patreon, superdacob, all spelled together, for extra perks. Thank you to my patrons who have pledged. This video is being filmed in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream several times a week on my main Super Dacob channel, so come join me there for the live chats. Listen, Cristalle is a perfume that was released in 1974, but it was already kind of in construction during Coco's life. Coco Chanel passed away in 1971, but the perfume was launched posthumously. Now, Henri Robert is the nose behind behind Cristalle. This perfume has a lot of sadness in it. You know, it's the last days of Coco Chanel. I mean, the formulation of this is kind of an ashtray. There's a dryness to it. There's a crystalline, it's a crystal at the end of the day. There's this crystalline chypre notion of who this person, Coco Chanel, was. And Henri Robert knew her very well. So in her last years of life, she was going through a lot of trouble. You know, alleged morphine addiction, a lot of pain, sleepwalking at night, being afraid of being alone. I mean, we're talking loneliness at a level that is really, really hard to grasp unless you've been there yourself. Now, at such an advanced age to feel such loneliness, but at the same time, really always wanting to prove yourself that you still can, that you're still worthy, that you can still do it. It can lead you to certain character traits that, well, might make you appear a little bit bitter and hard and harsh at times. And I do believe that Coco had her moments, right? The good times and the not so good times. So you can imagine how it is for a perfumer that works with poetry to deliver a fragrance like this towards the end of the life of a person. He had Coco in mind. I'm sure of it, because this perfume smells of her. She was a chain smoker till her dying day. There's an ashtray accord in here. There's that bitter loneliness in here. You know, there's that need for love in here. But it's a need for love. It doesn't always know how to take love. It doesn't always know how to give love. It's desperately in need of love and affection. But it's been through so much already. It's been scarred so many times already that it just doesn't know how to deal with love. But it has lived and it knows how life works. You know, it's an existence that has fine-tuned the mechanics and the clockwork of life to a T. In fact, it has crystallized life. That's what Cristalle means. It's kind of like the vision that Coco Chanel had of life in her last 2 years, 3 years of life. A very, very crisp and clear vision of it, but it is lonely. It's austere. It's minimal, liminal even, in many ways. And it's and as I'm drenched in this cloud of Cristalle, I'm telling you guys, I am feeling it. Feeling it. Isolation, loneliness, but that desperate need for affection and love. But at the same time, being so disillusioned because you've been hurt so many times already that you know it ain't gonna happen. It's that sad and that simple. You just know it's not gonna happen anymore. And so what is the next best thing you can do? You make everything pretty. You make everything clean. You make everything preppy. You make everything disciplined. You have a rhythm. Oh, heaven forbid you were to stray away from that rhythm. It's like clockwork. Breakfast is at 7:30 a.m. sharp or 8 a.m. You go to work, you work, you work, you work, you work, you work. You don't stop working, because if you stop working, you stop existing. Little bone broth. She had her little broth every day That's all she would eat. She maintained her ballerina dancer legs till her dying day. She was very slender, very disciplined. What you eat, how you work, how you communicate, how you tailor clothes. Focus on the tailoring. Focus on the shoulders. Focus on how the jacket falls on the model on which you are tailoring the clothes. Focus on the work. Focus on perfecting it. Become obsessed with perfection, because that's the only thing at that point in her life that she could control. She lost in love. She lost in business. And contrary to what many people think, oh, she and the Germans all debunked. Read a book, learn something. Don't come to me in the comment section saying, oh, you're supporting somebody who was a collaborator. She wasn't. I have a video on, by the way, I have over 100 books on Coco Chanel in my library, but I have created a video of 5 books that you should read on her. Go check out that video, read those books, and then we can talk. Otherwise, don't be a lemming, just listening what some other idiots online say about her without having read a book themselves, and you just copy and paste that information. Don't be stupid. Read, get an education, do yourself a favor. The only thing she could control towards the end of her life was her art. She worked her entire life since she was a kid, since she was in the orphanage, abandoned by her father. Her mother already passed away. She worked. She perfected the art of tailoring. She perfected the art of creating uniforms for people. They were perfect. That's the only thing she could control in her life. She lost control of everything else. Which is what saddens me even more today when I see the House of Chanel, when it comes to their fashion, you know, a lot of their clothes, the fabrics are just not there anymore. The quality is just not there anymore. I'm like, you know, Coco would be turning in her grave, in my opinion. Now, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, okay? Everything's alleged, just my opinion, not rooted in any truths or facts. But to think that that woman's legacy was in her hands, was creating those clothes tirelessly. She would never sit down. She would always be on her feet, working on the shoulders of the models, on the length, on the proportions, strapping things off, putting them together again, taking them off again, tirelessly, until she was exhausted at night and would fall asleep, wake up in the morning, and the routine starts all over again. That's what kept her alive. It wasn't the human relations. It wasn't the love affairs. It was her work. She realized at a certain point in her life, that's all she has. But she was clever enough to realize that what she had was worth gold, because she knew what she was doing. So, Henri Robert, who was a huge poet, not just a perfumer, I think he realized that when he created the last perfume for Coco Chanel. I do believe she smelled this or some iteration of it before she passed away. But so it's kind of like an homage to Coco in her last years. It's a perfect perfume, you know? It's the crystalline aspect of it. It refracts light like a crystal. It's just sublime. Maybe even more so than a crystal. It's more like a diamond. But actually, crystal is a better name for it, because it's more, you know, a diamond is created by nature, right? Unless it's not a man-made diamond. But a crystal is something that kind of humans create. And I love the fact that there's an artifice to it, because Coco also created clothes. So this perfume is lonely and dry. There's a sense of isolation in this thing. But it's disciplined. It's like clockwork. It has a very, very precise opening, base, mid notes. It is like a day in the life of the last years of Coco Chanel. Smelling this is like living her day in a very abstract and poetic way, but that's what you get when you wear Cristalle Eau De Toilette. That's what you get. This is not one of those perfumes they say, oh, this is nice. Oh, smells so cozy, inviting, pleasant. Sure, but no. This is a historical artifact, okay? This is one of those keys you need to own in your collection if you're interested in the life of Coco Chanel, in her legacy. This is the perfume you need to smell to understand the woman even more, if you're into her biography and if you're into reading how her life was. This is like a key to understand her even more. This is more than just, oh, a nice perfume to wear to the office. This is history. This is a documentary more than a perfume. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, if we get to the notes, we got Sicilian lemon and bergamot in the opening notes. Of course, we have a ton of aldehydes as well, like every good Chanel perfume. It sparkles crystalline in the opening notes. And then we have that famous hyacinth that is so famous for Cristalle in the mid notes. You can't have a Chanel perfume without jasmine. And then there's honeysuckle and Brazilian rosewood they list here as well. But it's the hyacinth, really, with the jasmine, that really tickles the soul out of this perfume. It's the hyacinth that vibrates. And then you got oak moss and vetiver in the dry down. Now, the jasmine is a very indolic jasmine that is scorched and stripped of all of its affection by the vetiver and by the oak moss and by the hyacinth. It is, there's no emotion. It's a jasmine that has been deprived of love. Now, as I'm traveling, at the moment I'm staying in a place, I am surrounded by jasmine, by the Jasminum grandiflorum, not the sambac, but the grandiflorum jasmine. And at night, it is intoxicating. As I open the window, it hits me from all around. It is super hot as I'm filming this video. It is high summer, very, very hot. And the jasmine is pungent. It is so indolic. It's almost fecal in its intensity, in the air, in that humid, hot air where not an inch of air is budging or moving in any direction. There is no wind. There is no breeze. There's just stillness and pressure. And the only thing pushing its way through all of that pressure and heat is the indolic aspect of the jasmine. So what I do, it's my personal Chanelian, Coco-esque discipline. The middle of the night, I bathe in this, and this is the secret. This is why it's so empty. Not because I use it a lot during the day. At night, I bathe in it, and I go out, and I inhale the jasmine. But the jasmine mixes up with this perfume. And all that dryness, the dry accord of Cristalle and all of those elements that have stripped the jasmine of its love, it's back again. Because I'm surrounded by real jasmine all around me. And the real jasmine kind of like feeds the drying out jasmine inside of this. And it brings it back to life. And this perfume all of a sudden feels like, Coco, there's still hope. Somebody does love you after all. You did find love after all. I love you. And this perfume made it very clear to me that fragrances in general, they not only set a tone for imagination, hopes, and dreams, or just the mood of the moment. But you can also manipulate the mood of the moment, and you can add stuff to create hope. You can add other things to annihilate that hope. A dream, a love, a passion. But Cristalle in particular, as you're traveling the world and wearing it and experiencing other smells that might combine with it or not, it's almost like this is a clean slate. There's an arid dryness to this. It's just fertile and ready to absorb whatever love or life you want to give it. So wear this as you're traveling through the world. Show Coco the world. She will absorb it all, and she will feel it all, and she will not manipulate. She will maneuver her way through it. You know, she will absorb whatever you throw her way, and it's going to be such a beautiful layering, texturing moment to wear Cristalle throughout your adventures in life, and you will feel everything more intensely. It's amazing. It's like starting to sprinkle water on a deserted plain, and it's just so thirsty, but there was no water for the longest time. And then you finally give it water, and the most beautiful flowers bloom out of nowhere. And you're like, well, where did they come from? Well, they were inside of you all this time. You just had to find the right key to unlock those clouds and let that water pour. And I always say this, I know we don't like to get dirty. We're living in, a first world, and it's like you're always a septic, cement everywhere. But there is something so liberating about just letting it all go and stepping into the rain when it's raining outside, and you just let it wash all over you. Next time you do that, spray a lot of Cristalle on you and then let the water fall on you. And then the smell of the perfume mixed with the rain, it's on a whole other level. Trust you me. I don't know. This doesn't have the biggest silage. It doesn't have the biggest projection. I really don't care about those things. I never did, So people often say in my reviews, well, how long does it last? What is it? Is it for men, for women? Perfumes know no gender. I don't care about longevity and sillage. This is not why I wear perfumes. I don't care. I really don't care. What I care for is what they give me when they're there, for as long as they're there. You don't get to choose how long a person stays in your life, how long a loved one stays in your life. Life can take them away from you at any given moment. You don't get to choose. You just don't. That's life. So be happy for however long a perfume lasts on you, and when it's gone, it's gone. Enjoy it while it's there. With Cristalle, I do believe that this documentary of a perfume really needs to be preserved. And I do hope that Chanel does not discontinue it, or that they don't reformulate it to the point where it loses its DNA. I am hopeful because Chanel has done right by almost all of their, actually all of their perfumes really. They're really doing a great job at maintaining the core quality of their heritage fragrances. But Cristalle has disappeared from the French website as of now. I have heard some people say that they found the batch code 9 something something something, which is produced as I'm doing this review in 2023, in the summer of 2023. So there is hope, but that was a very small batch, you guys, that sold out immediately, and it's again gone. So here's hoping that they preserve it. And if not, well, I do have a couple of bottles left to enjoy as long as it's there. But like I said, we don't get to decide how long somebody stays in our life. We just get to enjoy as long as we get to spend some time with that person that we love. And when it's up, it's up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, thumb it up, subscribe, and until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Let me know your thoughts down below. Bye.